I want you to look at this basketball game and just observe this. Now this is the recent corner taken by Arsenal. Over the last couple of years, Arsenal are using tactics from both NBA and NFL, which are turning almost every corner into goals and moving them closer towards the title. But due to this, there has also been a constant hate amongst the rivals. They say these tactics should not be legalized in football. And the reason? The space which was once belonged to the goalkeeper now looks this. So what's going on here? How this set piece, which was once ignored and often seen as a waste of time, has suddenly become a deadly goal machine for Arsenal.
Every corner is causing mayhem.
What Harry Kane called the set-piece team are at it again.
When you look at the area where the corners usually happen, this zone, which is also called as the 6-yard box, is where all the magic happens. And normally the attacking players used to stay just outside of this box, with the defensive teams placing 2 layers of safety, with the lower one sticking to their positions and covering every sides of the box, while the upper one's job is to man-mark these attackers and block their incoming runs toward the ball. So, with the upper line tracking the attackers, the lower line and the keeper can have space and time to focus on clearing the ball. But when you look at Arsenal attackers, they don't stay like this. Instead, you'll see them here. Just think about it. If you stayed here, then the defender's one eye will be on you, and the other on the incoming ball. But if you move all the way back, it's impossible for those guys to do the same. So they have to come with you, right? But here's the twist. Arsenal also place extra players near the edge of the box who can make direct runs inside. This forces the opposition to spread their man markers across both the sides. So with less markers, you can directly run inside this box and come in the way of the lower line and the keeper, breaking their focus. And this explains why Arsenal corners are so crowded. But it's not just about crowding the box. There is also a bit of science behind their positioning. You see, with corners, the ball usually travels horizontally across the box, and most receivers are standing still, which makes their jump almost vertical. So when they both collide in the air, it's harder for the receiver to generate both power and accuracy in the header. But with Arsenal, these players have a clear starting and an ending point. So when the ball arrives inside the box, they too run inside from the other end. Just think of an airplane. It clearly uses a long runway to take off. This makes its movement look horizontal and has more speed and power to fly higher. Which is not the case with a helicopter, who move vertically and slower. So similarly, this huge run-up helps Arsenal players to jump even higher than the static defenders, and when both of them collide with the same angle, the impact is much more powerful and natural, giving the receiver the accuracy needed for the header. But sometimes, they don't play the ball to these incoming players. But even then, these players carry on their runs. But why? You see, in basketball, there is a concept called screening, where players intentionally make dummy runs and then use their bodies to block the defenders. This creates space for their main shooter to go for the pointer. And it's not just basketball. Even in NFL, you would see such type of blockings for the thrower. And Arsenal saw these and applied it into their corners. These same players would make dummy runs pulling their markers with them, and then they immediately block their movements so that they can't retrieve and move where the ball would actually land. This leaves free space around the ball, where you would see their best executors running into it. And these executors usually start around the edge of the box, making a side run, or from the far back, making a late run toward the ball. And you would see this blocking is done even more aggressively against the goalkeeper, with them having an extra advantage to run and handle the ball themselves. If you restrict their movement, it becomes much easier for the ball to drop into no man's land. But it's not just the corners. You could also see similar tactics in Arsenal's free kicks. Like here, they have 2 sets of groups, the first one almost staying offside, while the second one stays just in front of the defensive line. So the moment ball is about to be kicked, the offside players quickly rush back and push the defenders deep. This does 2 things. First, it restricts the forward movement of the defenders and delays their run against these players. And if the opposition tries to use the offside trap, then the forward player can make the opposite run and receive the ball instead. But if Arsenal are scoring so many goals from set pieces, does this mean their normal tactics are not working? And the answer is yes. But also, no. When we look at Arteta's philosophy, just like Pep, it falls on the extreme end of control style, which means the formation which we see before the game actually stays like that during the game. This is because Arsenal's main goal is to use the available pitch as much as possible by placing each player in each zones. And this helps to stretch the oppositions to cover all these players, leaving space in between to attack. But with each player staying in their zones, how do they actually attack these spaces? The answer is this. This is what we call the triangular rotations, where the first passer becomes the final receiver with the help of a support player, and this all happens without causing a dent to their overall structure. But recently, these tactics are slowly becoming less effective in the modern game. Just think about it. When you keep playing an organized shape in every phase of the game, and all your rotations are within that shape, it can become easier for the oppositions to predict you, and they can do the homework before the game even begins.
Obviously, we generate so many set pieces, so you have to start from there. And against these low blocks, when they don't really want to jump and commit that many players there, we have another opportunity to put the players that we want in the position that we want with the role that we want.
But why Arteta had to use all these proxy techniques instead of just tweaking his system to adapt with the modern game? And the answer, if he does, they won't be the best defensive side right now. You see, when you play a structured shape while attacking, it's easier and faster for your team to assemble into a defensive structure, which is not the case with a creative attack, where these free players are almost unreachable to their defensive positions. This makes their defense extremely difficult to break, turning them currently the best defensive side in the world. But to understand this better, let's see how their defense and corner tactics looks into a simulation. Arsenal typically plays in a 4-2-3-1 system in possession, but when they attack, you could see half of the players attacking while the other half staying back. This gives Arteta the balance and the security against counterattacks. So one pivot can be an aggressive box-to-box player, while the other one stays as a deep-lying playmaker. But out of possession, almost all the forward players of Arsenal takes up the tracking duty, especially the wingers. And within it, their last line are meant to do the stopping work, who would step up and man-mark the opposition forwards between the lines, while the second line does the screening work to not allow the space to pass between the lines. While out of possession, here their defensive line is much lower than other teams, as they are willing to let the opposition play high line against them. But apart from all these, their main magic happens in their corners. So this is how their corners would actually look. Since their main aim is to crowd the 6-yard box, almost all their crosses are played in an in-swinging way. So we will set the delivery type as in-swinger, and these in-swingers are played beautifully by their primary takers like Declan Rice and Saka. While inside the box, as we can see, most of their runs are targeted towards the near post, so we will place at least 3 players attacking that area, while the other 2 will be used as an executor who would target the spaces in the middle and far post created by those forward runs. And we all know how Arsenal aggressively block the keeper by placing a marker around him, so we will assign one specific player for that role. But you might be wondering, apart from them, who are these blue players? Well, their job is to stay outside the main crowd and be ready to attack second balls if the cross gets cleared. So overall, with Arsenal dominating the corners with this tactics, many teams too have started using their style. But just like any new tools, some will always use it in a dodgy way. For instance, now with teams crowding the 6-yard box, it becomes difficult for the referee to see each player inside it. And this led to some unethical practices within that crowd, where you could see the keeper are physically being holded or even smashed. And it's obvious that this has led to a lot of backlash in football, with many people asking the authorities to make some serious changes. Some suggest we have to limit the number of players inside the 6-yard box, while others asking for extra cameras around the goal area. But there is also a strong counter-argument. Before this new style, corners were often predictable, as the goalkeeper could easily claim the ball. But now, because of the crowding, corners have become far more exciting and unpredictable for fans. And for teams, it has now become one of the most dangerous attacking weapons you can have in your toolkit.
And Arsenal have done it in the 96th minute!
But while Arsenal have a weird set-piece tactics, there is one team in Germany whose striker can be seen next to his own keeper, and yet the same guy is breaking record goals for his team. So how is this possible? And why this team currently has the best attack in the world? Let's understand in this video.